Hey, what's up, Shane?
Oh, not much, man.
How are things going?
Pretty chill. It's a nice Sunday
Good,
afternoon.
good. Welcome, everybody, to a special early edition of Studio 6 Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Hill, with my wonderful co host, Shane Feek. And
Hello.
we have some cool cats in the wind tonight. Today, I should say. Let's bring them on right away. This is Nat. Sorry, Nat and Eliot. All right. Hey.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. Thank you guys so much for agreeing to come on the show. We've been having a little hit and miss with the times, but now that we've got you here, this is going to be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So let me start off by saying that I've watched a lot of your stuff, like your posts on Facebook, and you guys are everywhere. I mean, I to be honest with you, I mean, you go like to a lot of the places that I would love to go to, and it's refreshing to see that, I can live vicariously through other people's posts because the fact that some of that stuff is just awesome, So, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you guys are in case some of my viewers don't know, and then just kind of go through a little bit of what you guys are doing.
Okay. Hello. I'm Nat. I am the leader of ACG Paranormal. I have been actively paranormal investigating for almost 20 years. Actually,
Wow.
This year is my 20th year. I started when I was 12 years old. I started off at Manteno State Hospital when I was 12. I just
That's cool.
fell in love, exploring. I did a lot of more so urban exploring with like a digital recorder, and then it kind of became more paranormal investigating. And then I don't suggest going into abandoned buildings, but this was 20 years ago, and I had no idea like if it was old and spooky, I was gonna go inside.
That's cool.
But I do not support
Don't trespass.
Yeah,
They're
don't do
dangerous.
that. But I was a kid. I didn't know. But with that, I started going to, cemeteries. By the time I was like 15, I started to hop in the train into Chicago, and then I started doing a lot of like the old, El Capone's grounds. I went to the Congress constantly, would go into like hotels for the most part, and just kind of walk around and, felt the vibe. Even like haunted parks, haunted cemeteries, haunted graveyards. Archer Avenue is another one of my go-tos. And then from there, I just kind of was like, hey, after the pandemic, I really wanted to kind of get more into the community because I didn't even know there was a whole paranormal community. I thought there was just like, oh, a couple people like this and that's it. And then like I wanted to join a team, so I joined a team. Wasn't really feeling the way that they were doing things, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to start my own team, and then Eliot here, who's my partner, he's been doing my tech. He didn't believe in ghosts until I want to say 6 years ago.
So I've been doing this for about 10 years now with her, and for about 5 of that, I didn't believe her. So I was trying to debunk everything she ever did. So I would make like random tech to try to trip
It's
her up.
okay, us nerds.
So it's like, oh, there's something programmed in that, or I would take
Yeah.
everything apart, look into it, and then
I do
eventually
that.
it's just like, yeah, this is weird. This shouldn't be doing this. And I would just like, okay, I'm gonna stop like debunking absolutely everything because my debunking is getting old because it's not making sense at some points because some things
Sure.
are strange.
Oh yeah, we found
And yeah, so I've been making tech with her for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So-
we'll have to get together and make tech.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
The two of
Yeah.
us together probably cause a
Shane
vortex.
Shane is, like I said, I've said this before, but when I talk to Shane about tech, I kind of feel dumb. So, but that's okay. It works. But talk about a little bit about when you got started, Nat, with the paranormal group. I mean, did you run into a lot of places that didn't want to have you investigate?
So yeah, we've gotten reached out. Like we do, well, not so much anymore, but we were doing residentials for a little bit there, and we were getting, we didn't post it anywhere. We didn't really tell people that we did them.
Which is good.
It was more, yeah, and
glad.
we, like that's very on the down low. We mostly, got reached out for like family, friends, co-worker, somebody that needed, answers, help, and we were reached out, but as far as like bigger locations, we do filming.
Mhm.
We've gone on platforms like we've been on Tubi, Amazon Prime. We've done Paraflix a few times. So there's different, platforms that have reached out to us like, hey, we want you a part of our episode. So there's stuff like that. But for the most part, these bigger locations, they are businesses, and I didn't
Mhm.
start off with going to these bigger locations. I kind of had to work my way up there. I grew up in a kind of, poor situation. So
Yeah,
like I didn't
we
get
all did.
yeah, like, I didn't get to go to like Waverly at like 16, 17. It's cool that I see people doing Waverly at that age. Like I think that's super awesome. Personally though, I've always wanted to go to places like that. I'm just now being able to go to places like that. So
Right.
it's not walk in the park like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go to this super expensive location. It's like, no, I had to put away some money. I had to save. I had to work to get there.
Right.
So you see us going to these locations. It wasn't always the case. I started off at small museums, small businesses. I would actually
Mhm.
go into locations just to be like, oh, this place is a little spooky. I'm like, I'm feeling a ghost. You got a ghost? And then we
And
could
for the most part,
investigate.
most of the time, like if we started talking to people about like ghosts and stuff, and like even like very small museums, that's what we used to do for the most part, was like small
Yeah.
local historical societies. There was only maybe one or two places that would be like, no, we don't want
Yeah.
you to do that.
No.
But for the most part, it's like, oh, hey, we got our equipment in our trunk.
Yeah,
if
and
you want us to look around, try to talk to some things, people usually are pretty cool about it as long as you're very respectful.
It
Yeah.
depends on the location.
Yeah, it really
Mhm.
depends on the location.
You know.
But then there's other places like like Science and Industry downtown Chicago. There's some ghosts there.
Mhm.
And
I was just there a couple weeks ago.
we'd hid in a stairwell or two
Just
and
like
run a spirit box.
ghosts.
The workers usually stare at us
It's
and
like-
think we're weird, but like as long as you're not hurting anything, they usually don't care for the
Yeah.
most part.
Right.
So it is kind of cool though. Like I've always been into ghosts. Like I saw ghosts as a kid, and when I was growing up, like my grandma, she would like use a little VHS tape and record stuff for me, and like I would watch like the same VHS tape over and over and over again because there was no topic on it. My parents, they weren't really supportive of me growing up with the whole ghost topic, but lately, like they have been a little bit more open,
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but that was another thing that I really had to kind of work with them and be like, hey, this is what I believe. Can you respect what I believe? I can respect what you believe, type thing. The more they hang out with me, the more they're like, oh yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's amazing that when you meet new people, and then sometimes you're afraid to kind of bring up the topic of ghosts or whatever, but the moment you do, and then all of a sudden it's like that instant connection, because I've ran into more people that are like, you do that? Really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then that opens up that whole conversation. And then all of a sudden, you're investigating their home or their, a business that they know of, or they can get you into that business or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like there's a big broad spectrum of paranormal, fans and people that actually take part in that. It's so big. I didn't realize how big it was. Like you said, I didn't realize when I first started a while ago, and I was like, wow, this is like, I feel like a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's crazy.
it
It's
is.
Yeah.
like I always think we have like so many people, and then every time I look around there's like
More people.
5,000 different names that I don't know, and I'm like, hey, I want to get to know these people. I want to. What are they
Yeah.
doing over here?
Right.
You know.
And
Right.
that's something that we really like believe in is I feel like it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for a year, it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 20 years. Like I feel like we can all learn from each other, because there's been things that I've seen that, you know, people who just got into this doing different, you know, techniques that I'm like, what are you doing over
The
there?
main thing is just
Like,
being nice.
That would be me.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all just messing around with stuff. Everybody who makes
Right.
tech, we're guessing at what will work. It's
Sure.
it's all a guess. Like it's
Right.
all playing with different things, seeing what the spirits like, see what works for them. So like someone new might come along that's really into a specific hobby that just for some reason works with paranormal. So you never know. Like someone might start tomorrow and have like the thing that ghosts love. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and Shane's come up with some things.
Yeah, I do.
too.
I do investigations different than any group I've ever seen. So
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, talk a little bit about that thing that you just created with the CB
so-
radio.
yeah, so basically think of it as a CB radio that can talk to the other side.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So it basically kind of looks like a metal detector at first. It's got a wand with a search coil on the end of it. But not only can it listen to the EMFs directly live, but if you key up the mic, you can actually emit EMF
That's
throughout the room.
cool.
Yeah.
Yes. So that
So
must
I just finished that device. It's only been on one investigation, and there wasn't much of anything on anything at that one. So I have no idea how well it works yet. But
trial
That's how
and
I always
error,
am. I'm
you
like,
know?
well,
Right,
here,
right.
you want to play with it, you can play with it. So we have spirits in our house that when I'm working on tech, I have them. I'm like, hey, does this work? Try this.
I've
And they'll-
done that at my house. Yeah.
I've been playing with like different antennas and stuff. They
Sure.
sometimes they'll be like, yeah, this is great, and I'm like, okay, this is great. And then another one that won't talk at all. So it's like,
And I mean,
okay, I won't use that.
I feel like too, like you can't 100% say like, oh, this works and this doesn't.
Yeah.
Because,
Oh,
like,
of course.
depending on the
correct.
location, like certain spirits, like we've gone into locations where they only like the REM pod, and we don't get
Right.
any answers on the spirit
Yeah.
box, you know, like, and then we go in and they just like the spirit box. So it's like to say that one thing works better than the other, or saying like your way is better than the other is
Right.
you know,
Right.
there
Yeah.
is no better way. It's
There's
the way,
there's a lot of variables and factors that go in.
yeah.
I think
yeah.
one of the main
Yeah.
things that like my concept is we don't really know what we're dealing with. Like we're assuming most of these are deceased people.
Sure.
Some locations could be like aliens or something.
That-
Who knows?
Yeah, that
That's
has
like-
like a theory, you know.
different devices might work different for different deceased people. Like, you know, it's just
Nothing's 100%.
Yeah.
you know?
And my
Right.
idea was to try to get the human bias out of everything as much as I can. So most all the equipment that I use logs to, you know, a thumb drive or a computer or something, you know, and it's taking dozens of readings every second from all different kinds of instruments, and, you know, and then you can do some statistics with it, you know. So basically, you know, you'll pretend like you're doing an EVP session, you'll ask some questions, and then give them time to respond. And then you take that data from the time they responded or supposedly responded, and you compare it to the baseline statistically, and you find out, okay, did they touch the sensor that you told them to touch at the time you told them to do it? And
Yeah.
we have had positive results with this, you know. As a matter of fact, I've even got it scripted enough that you can set up the equipment and you can just leave the property and just let it run and then come back and find out what's going on. So,
oh, that's cool.
yeah.
That's really
So
cool.
there's no way humans can mess with it. You videotape it, of course, so you know, so you don't have pranksters, etc. And you know, it's pretty objective. It's probably as objective in this field as you can get, because
that's
no
nice.
humans are part of it.
A lot of my stuff isn't, I don't make it as scientific. Like for a while I was, and it's nice that there are people doing the scientific stuff because that's great. My stuff is like, I've switched more to like just party equipment because like I try to make things that the ghosts are gonna like play with.
I think, you know, for a
Well, they
moment
do play
there,
with it.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, like for a
Yeah.
moment there, we were kind of trying to do more of like the scientific aspect, but then something that's always been a thing with me is human connection. I've always
And that's my
like,
wife's way.
Yeah,
She's the human side. I'm the
yeah,
pet side.
and I don't know. It's just like so like when we go to ISS, like when I was a kid, I used to volunteer in a nursing home just to hang out, with the elderly that was there, and like I would play, music with them. And when I go into ISS, Indiana State Sanatorium, there is a nursing home area. I literally bring that same, energy, that same when I was a kid, where you playing music and
Sure.
you want to play bingo. I don't want to sit there and talk about like the way that they died or how they died, because that's such a small portion
Mhm.
of
Oh,
what
of
these
course.
people's
I agree.
life was.
Right.
Like, so I'm trying to figure out, what was your name? Did you have grandchildren? Did you like playing puzzles? Like, what was your favorite animal? I want to know more about the
Right.
spirit
Absolutely.
Right.
versus just like, and just who they are, so I can tell their story. I'm definitely a ghost story girl.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I love hearing other people's ghost stories. I love like sharing other people's ghost stories, my own ghost stories. Just I love that tie with everything. That I feel like is my biggest connection with all this.
So let me ask you this, Nat, or Elliot, when you have you revisited several places, like different places that you get more or less activity? I mean, it just so every time, I'd say you pick a place and then you go and you're like, okay, we know this place is really active, but have you ever gone there and say, okay, expecting something because you've got it the last 3 times and then you get nothing?
So we've had that, and I think sometimes I personally think that the ghosts do like a vibe check on
Yeah.
people.
Oh, 100%.
And if someone there
Oh,
is, if they feel like either, especially with cameras, if there's no cameras, they're a lot more chill sometimes. But like if they feel that they're being exploited in any way, they will like just ignore
we've
you.
had like spirits like just like be like, oh, you're filming. Yeah, no, I'm not doing.
Yeah, it's happened.
Not a fan.
But yeah, I mean, we've done Indiana State, what, like how many times would you say?
I
now?
would say 20 plus.
20 plus.
Okay.
Like,
Well, that's a good example then. Yeah.
So there's been
we
times.
do tours there too, so like that's in counting like when
Okay.
we're out there seasonally.
Mhm.
There's times though when we go in there and they seem like they're sleeping. Like
Yeah.
it seems like
Yep.
no one's
Right.
doing
Yeah.
much
Right.
there.
There's
Right.
specific spirits that I feel like at this point, like Indiana State is such a good example, because it's like, I've always kind of wanted to go to the same like place over and over again and
Mhm.
see how the energy changes or shifts. There's a few spirits there that I feel like are always the same with me when I go. But there's other spirits that like, this is new. Like lately there's been it kind of reminds me of like alien lights. Like we've been seeing these like flashing lights outside the 5-story, like someone's going like this with a flashlight,
Like
That's
with
cool.
like a
and there's
spotlight,
no one there.
like
Yeah.
like a cop spotlight.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, okay.
very weird.
Yeah.
There's like 3 of the lights out there.
It's been like that the last 3 times I think we were there. Either we saw the lights or someone that we were investigating with saw the lights. So that's something new, because like we didn't have that the first few times that we were there. So I do think there's different energies or different things that shift, but for the most part, myself, I kind of pick up on the same spirits. Like there's I feel like certain ones get comfortable with you. They're like, oh,
Yep.
this girl, and they're like,
Yep.
oh, I remember her. She's nice, or she's fun. Like we're like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like visiting like an old friend,
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, I definitely think though that there's other spirits that either traumatic event happened on a certain date. The weather, I do think plays a huge part in it, like energy in general. But yeah, all of it together, I do think energy can shift over time. But there are certain spirits that just are there, every time.
Right.
We
Yeah.
have-
I've actually experienced that where I used to do my podcast in a haunted location in Lake Geneva, and it was a old mansion that was built in 1856, and so I had became close with some of the spirits there, and they would sometimes when I would walk in to the building, they would dim the lights, and then the
Hmm.
owner would know that I was there.
Definitely.
And then so being a psychic medium, I know all the ins and outs of that place, and I know what's not so nice, and then majority of them are, just kind of just doing their thing, you know what I mean? And so when you talk about like the the Indiana State Penitentiary, right?
Sanitary.
Sanitarium, right? So that would be like, to me, that would be like energy overload, especially for you, Nat.
Yes. Yeah.
So that place has such a long history that like the variety of spirits there is just it's
I
crazy.
believe I can't remember 100%, but I want to say there was close to 5,000 deaths.
Yeah,
on the
something
property.
like that.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah,
because it was
that's on my board there.
yeah, it was
Yeah, that would be really cool.
and you're right, like everywhere, because like the mansion, like there's different buildings on the property, and the mansion has more so like, I don't know if it was like a superintendent's wife, but there's more so like a mom type figure, kind of like going about her day in that house, doing her, cleaning, like making
Yeah,
dinner.
that house definitely has like a residence hall.
The first time that we were there, I was standing near the attic doorway, and all of a sudden, like, I was the only one in the mansion, and all of a sudden I heard this woman just go, "Excuse me," like, and I'm just, like, so I definitely feel like that's more of a homey vibe. But then you go to these other buildings and you start getting like, I feel like patients from the tuberculosis, because it was originally tuberculosis, and then where you sleep, like the office buildings. And I didn't know this at first, but I was picking up on like a younger girl, maybe 11, 12 years old. She actually said like hello to me, and like when I was sleeping, I'd lay down, and all of a sudden I got this girl in my ear, and we would hear like, kids. We found out that that's where the children's ward for the TB hospital was. So
Wow.
I mean, there's just a mix of energy there. Yeah. And then the 5-story for me has always been more so, and it would make sense because the 5-story, the 5th floor was the most violent. So
the 5th floor is
that
one of the more. So I don't always warn about locations. I usually like ghosts are usually chill, but the 5th floor is a little like, you need to be careful if you go up to the 5th floor.
I just want to say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Like,
can you guys see the chats?
Yeah.
Okay.
I see Jenny and Shane. There's a couple. I think Larry was in there too at one point.
Yeah, Larry was in there too. Yep.
Yeah, and I think Brad.
Yeah, my friend Katie's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just going down the line. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Jen.
And that's part of the reason why I like doing this, just because of the fact that there's so many cool people that come on and just want to, chat or ask questions or whatever. I mean, it's just kind of cool that way. I love the chat side of it. I mean, that's fantastic. But getting back to like the haunted locations, for me, I've been to a couple different ones, but my calling is like doing this, or doing like psychic walkthroughs or stuff like that I've done with a friend of mine who's my camera guy. And I don't know how you guys, have you ever had something where, like, Nat, I would ask you this, that like, would you get information before you would go to a location?
No. So I like going in
like that, like not by like a living person telling you,
like
but
from ghosts, like you do.
Like if
I have the
she does it and it's weird.
The
Freaks me out.
The astral dream. I will see things before I go, and recently I've had an experience with this, but I will go and like I'll have a dream, and it's kind of like
Larry says it's weird. It is weird, Larry.
Larry is a prime witness.
Yeah.
But I have like these dreams where, and I kind of describe them to Elliot. I'm like, I feel like I'm Peter Pan. Like I literally go, I'm like, goodbye world, and then I go off to Neverland, which is whatever haunted location we might be investigating in a month from now, or like just not even a restaurant. It's just strange, but yeah. I definitely get that that I have, like, I was kind of going, I saw this list the other day about like psychic abilities, and like there was a lot that I was just like, dude, like I have this and I do that too. And I'm like, and like I've done remote viewing, I've done hold an object, and I can pick up on like who, like the description of who owned the object. Like it's weird, you know. And I've been lately testing these abilities a little bit more. Like I've always seen ghosts, and I just thought it was kind of normal. And, like,
and I mean, we've always done like the remote viewing tests and stuff online. Those are always interesting.
And I mean, it's not always like 100%. Like, you know, I feel like no one is like 100%.
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah,
I get most of my information. I get most of my information. It's like it comes in pictures and it comes in puzzles, and it's right before I go to sleep.
Yeah. Yes.
But you know, and it's you close your eyes, and all of a sudden you get these pictures of this or that and the other thing, and I just learned to deal with it. You know, and there's some things I don't know what it is. You know, but usually it leads up to something within a matter of a week or days or a month, and then it's like, oh, that's what that was. You know what I mean? So.
Makes sense.
yeah. So it kind of I've just kind of learned to deal with it, you know, and it's okay. It doesn't really freak me out, but yeah, when I don't get anything, that's when it's just kind of like, oh, okay, then I'm not going to be doing anything anytime soon, or you know, but you know, so
there has been you know, not just locations, but there has been like spirits that have came to me in my dream, and that gets a little overwhelming because like I
does.
See like you know, the last minutes of their lives, or I hear crying, or you know, I see images that I don't want to see. For instance,
you also shake and cry.
Yeah, Elliot a lot of times has to wake me up. Actually, when I first started dating Elliot, and this was when he was like, no ghost, anti-ghost. I had a dream, and I'm not gonna say any names, just, you know, because it is here, like in Illinois, but I did have a dream, still 3 hours away, of this girl. In my dream, I saw her clear as day. I wrote down all like the morning because I was shivering, you know, like and shaking in my sleep. And Elliot's like, hey, and I'm like, I had a dream, and then I just started writing all these details down. And I described her hair, her age, you know, where she was. She even told me her location, like, and it was just like.
Right.
And then I was just like, here, I'm like, start Googling, see if you can find anything to Elliot. He starts Googling, and he's just like, well, I found this. The same week I had this dream, this was a cold case from 20 years ago. It was reopened.
That freaks me out.
Like
it's weird.
Wow.
It is hard to like live with. I can't imagine having like doing that. Like I don't.
I had that recently about a lady that was murdered in Vegas, and she came to me, and it was because of the fact that I was talking with David Purdy from Ghost in the Hood, and he investigated the spot where many times where Ghost Adventures and everybody have, it's Bonnie Springs, and I had a vision a couple times, and this lady was deceased, and it was in a pool. It was underwater, and it was creepy. And I was like, and so when I talked to him, then the vision stopped. I told him everything, and he verified everything. He sent me pictures and said, was it this? I said, that's exactly what I saw. And, you know, so it's things like that that I asked my question, what do you do with that? What do you do? I mean, I've never dealt with murder or, you know, missing persons or that. For some reason, that doesn't sit well with me.
I'll stick with my gadgets.
Me too.
Gadgets a lot.
I got Elliot.
Well, that's always been like a concern, and like sometimes I've like, you know, if it's a friend, because I actually dreamt about one of my good friends. I've never met her cousin, but and he passed away. She was like, "Can you try to, you know, get in contact with him?" I tried, couldn't. And then like 6 months later, I had just this random dream, and here was another one that like really freaked me out. That this is kind of when like, and this was about 5-6 years ago. This is kind of when I started really embracing like the abilities. She was and she posted a picture. Like I had this dream, and all in the dream was like I could see her. She was across the way from me, and I could see this guy behind her, and he was just smiling. He didn't say anything. And the next morning, she posted this picture. I'm like, "Hey, girl, this is gonna sound really weird, but the picture that you just posted, is that by any chance the cousin that passed away? And she's like, yeah, it is. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is gonna sound weird, but I did dream about him last night. And she's like, oh, she's like, I've been missing him, and like you're just saying that because you're trying to make me feel good. And I was like, I'm like, no, I had a dream about him, and I told her my dream, and then I was like, yeah, I'm like, here, I can give you. She's like, that is a little weird because she's like, I did dream about him too, and the same night. And I was just like, you know what, I'm like, I can even tell you what time it was because I went up to go use the restroom, and I always check the time if I get up, and I told her the time, and then that's when she kind of was like, okay, I believe you. And I was like, wait, why? She was like, well, because he was my last dream. And I was like, okay. She was like, well, I'm in England and I'm 6 hours ahead of you. And that's when I woke up. Like, so if that was her last dream, he was my first dream. We dreamt about him at the same time.
Wow,
that's cool.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, like stuff like that though, you can contact the person. But if some ghost tells you in the dream to contact the family,
that's been hard.
I can't do
that.
Yeah,
I haven't been.
No, like that's too hard. Like, cause like I don't know that it's like it's like residentials. Residentials are very difficult because if you do them properly.
Yes,
you
absolutely agree.
So careful. You have to. And residentials don't end because once you've gone in someone's house to help them with a lost child or something, the aftercare is whenever they need you. Like it's on.
Right.
So
I agree.
that I couldn't contact someone from a dream. I wouldn't be able to handle that ability.
Yeah, me either.
Like, I couldn't do that.
That's
I don't have those dreams, so
I'm so happy I have tech.
Yeah, me too.
It is hard because it's like you want to tell these people, you want to reach out to the family, and it's just like, I don't know, like I don't feel like it's my place, but it's like at the same time, it's like I have like your mom or whatever like contact me, and it's hard. It's very hard. I don't do like any like charging of anything whatsoever, like because I feel like this is like a gift, and like if I actually have these abilities, and I get more out of it connecting with these people and like forming a relationship with like my friends. Like a lot of my friends I have because of ghosts. Like one of my friends from grade school, we both saw a ghost in the bathroom, and we're still friends to this day because no one else believed her. It's like I'd rather have those connections than if people want to pay us for like film, like that's one thing, but I'm not gonna sit there and like, if somebody wants me to try to contact whoever, I honestly, I couldn't charge them.
You see, and in that aspect too. I mean, I have in the past. I mean, if I've done an event,
that's different.
You know what I mean? Where I've charged an event, or if I have a person that knows that, hey, I need this information and this and that. I'm gonna pay you because you're doing a service. You know
that's
what I mean?
That's a service. Yeah, that's different.
Honestly, like I feel like with events, like you're putting hard work into that.
Yeah.
Like like even tarot readings,
you're sacrificing time.
I feel like tarot readings are more so personal. It's like personal energy. It's like relationship. Like what path you should go. Like as for contacting a deceased loved one, I just that to me I can't. Like like it's too much.
And usually the way it works for me too is that it's kind of like when I'm talking with somebody and they didn't even ask, but they're kind of like asking me all these questions about this and finding out who I am and this and that, and then they would have something on their mind, and all of a sudden I got this person coming up from behind me. I'm like, okay, but at that time, every time that I've had that happen, it's for a reason, a specific reason that they were like, man, I've been thinking about that and I was wondering about that. And I'm like, well, evidently it was a good thing you talked to me because now you know what I mean? Yeah, so that happens a lot. And
it's like you are literally comforting this person.
Yes,
and like, for me, like that is enough, like I that is enough. Like, and thinking back, like that's kind of like why I'm in this, it goes back to the human connection. Human connecting, like, and the ghost stories. And now, like, that story that I just told you about my friend and her cousin, like, I have that until the day, like, I pass, you know, and like
Right.
that I feel like just made our friendship stronger, you know, like,
Mhm.
so
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when you have experiences like that, that is literally like the universe just tying you in with other
Right.
people, and it's, you learn, you grow, and like, I
Yep.
feel like that's
Yep.
enough, you know?
Yeah. There's things that I've done that I would never thought that I would be able to do.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
psychometry. Yeah. I love doing psychometry. Remote viewing, same thing.
Mhm.
That's remote viewing's fun to
It is fun.
It's fun to test her with
I
that.
actually did a remote viewing when I first started Wisconsin Paranormal Research. About 6 months later, we had a place, this lady that used to work at this country club, and this lady contacted me through email and said, this place is really haunted, and you should come investigate. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. And this was like 3 years ago, and I basically told my researcher at that time, contact them and find out if we could set up a time to go get it, and all this other stuff. And they would never answer the phone. Well, come to find out that it was a private country club, and rich people don't really care to have that type of information blasted everywhere. So I kind of just let it go. But I remote viewed it at the time, and I'm standing I'm in this dining room of this country club, and I see all the windows, the pillars, and I saw a guy in a brown suit standing in the corner. I'm like, okay, so there's somebody here. Okay, that's fine. So I let it go. Fast forward 3 years later, I was supposed to get a job at this place on the lake, and it was a cooking job, and I had the job, and everything. I just had to go that Saturday to fill out some paperwork, and I would start on Monday and this and that. And then, like, right after, I was talking with another friend of mine on the phone. I got this text message from this lady, and she said, I talked to the chef. He doesn't think that you're a good fit. So thanks for your time. Bye. I was like, what? What? And so I was a week into my 2-week notice, and then all of a sudden, I looked online and I saw Bigfoot Country Club. I'm like, okay. So I applied and got the job immediately. Right before I left, I was standing there talking to my now boss, standing there in the same exact spot that I remote viewed that place 3 years prior.
That's cool.
That's pretty
really
cool.
So yeah, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, oh, okay. So they wanted me there.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that when I've been there going on May, it'll be a year, but I've had experience in that places where I've been touched, I've heard voices, I've heard, felt different things, but nothing really bad. I know that there's two gangsters there, and one's really tall, one's really short, and one's named Shorty, and he doesn't like me because he feels threatened, and they're not, so I leave him alone. You know what I mean? I mean, that's, this place is as old as 1923. So, I mean, this goes way back, but so I just felt really comfortable there. But when I look back at that people don't understand what mediums and what, psychic mediums do for like remote viewing and all that stuff. And even in the paranormal, we, like you and I, Nat, we experience this stuff.
Yeah.
And there's people that just are like, how do you live with that? And it's like, I just do.
You don't have a choice.
Honestly,
yeah.
Like, I feel like if you try, this is something that I learned over the years too, is like, there was times where like, I'm like, why am I so freaking weird? And like, I remember in high school, there was about a week there that I was like, you know what, I'm not going to embrace this ghost stuff anymore. And like, at the time, my brother worked at Abercrombie. Here I am pulling up to school after like, I used to be the girl that wore like bird feathers in my hair. And then I'm like trying to be normal for once. And I was just like, I lasted about a week and I was like, yeah, can't do this. I'm going back to the ghost girl stuff. Because like the conversations I had with people too, I'm just like, yeah, I'm trying to be normal. Like this just feels so not right, like
right. You have to be your true, genuine self. And
100%. And that's something that I feel like if I don't embrace this, it's going to like literally like consume me. So I just embrace it. And that's like who I am. Like I've always been like my same person. You know, even as a kid, I used to collect bugs, dead bugs. And like, you know, I'd be like, hey, Jenny, look at my bug collection.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel about taking things apart, though. Like I've always, since a kid, like I've always taken.
I did that.
Apart.
I've always taken
Love
things
it.
apart.
I love seeing inside of things.
Just accept who you are.
Like,
I like to find all the
Xbox
fake
controller.
ghost equipment.
I'll just take my Xbox controller apart randomly. I'll
Yeah.
be sitting there. I'm like, oh, let's see what's inside here.
It's
So
so weird
ahead.
too. Sorry, that like, you know, Elliot's sitting here taking things apart, and I'm here like collecting bones as a child, and like, you know,
I
like,
have
feeling
friends that
the
do that, so
world.
it doesn't seem
and-
strange to me.
But it works. I mean, and that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. When you guys have that connection like you do, yeah, it's just, it balances itself out. It may be strange, it may be odd, or it may be like, why are you doing that? But it just works, you know. I mean, and that's why when me and Shane got together and we talked about things, and we're the yin and yang. He's the nerd and I'm the spiritual advisor.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know, as he would say, he's like as spiritual as a rock,
That's me.
you know. So but it just works. I mean, I pick his brain about stuff all the time, you know. So it's fun to get a different viewpoint, especially
Yeah.
when it's you know, and you would say 80% paranormal and 20% skeptic,
Yeah, pretty
you
much.
know. So you need that
Yeah.
somebody to question that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I have a question for Elliot. So if you were thinking about blue sky for ghost gadgets, like you had money or abilities to build something cool, to sense something new, what would you come up with? Because that's where I've basically built everything I can think of, and I'm running out of ideas.
So, what I just discovered, I don't know if you have these by you. It's an Amazon return store. This
No,
place.
I don't think so, but okay.
So they take pallets of Amazon returns and
Okay.
they dump them in these bins, and you can
Okay.
go through there. And we went, and they had fill a shopping cart for $25.
I look
Wow.
back, there's like a shopping cart
So-
full of wires. What do you do with those?
I would do it.
I bought a bunch of things. Just like the way I make things is I just look at things and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna turn that into something.
Okay.
Probably, like if anything's a limit, I'd probably be doing something with radiation, because I really think radiation. Now this
She's shaking
Now,
her
see,
head.
I
Go.
don't know.
There you go. I'll be collecting my bugs.
So forewarn, if you're listening to this, do not play with radiation. This is
Unless you
this
know what
is
you're
a
doing.
hypothetical. This is super dangerous. You probably need a lot of safety to do this. Please don't kill your neighbors with radiation.
Yeah, right.
Don't destroy some location for all of us.
Yeah.
But like, ideally for me would be something at Chernobyl, probably, because I really think radiation gives the spirits energy. Because Archer Avenue has a, by us, where we go like when we're bored. That's where we investigate.
5 minutes away.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
5
well,
minutes away.
Yeah.
I can
There's a-
substantiate your theory.
There's a nuclear reactor buried there. So
Okay. Yeah, I know
if you-
Chernobyl. Yeah.
no, by us.
Oh, by
one
you.
of the,
Okay.
one of the first nuclear reactors is buried there. So
Off of Archer.
so there's a lot of energy in that area.
Well, here's one thing that might be a hint. My logging board has a Geiger counter on it, and it logs along every second along with all the other readings.
Nice. Yeah.
One thing we have found in probably 75-80% of the cases, if there's a bump either up or down in either magnetic field or EMF, at the same time you'll see the opposite change in radioactivity.
Oh,
But you can only notice this if you have fancy equipment that can log every second everything that ever happens.
You guys need to get together.
Yeah, we
Create
need to get
something.
together.
Yeah.
I'll bring my board down when I kind of visit you guys next week.
I would love to see that board.
You can
That's
see
cool.
it. You can see. We'll set it up at the thing, and they can play with it and see it.
What is the brain of it? Is it Arduino or is it?
It has an Arduino as a sub brain, but it has a Raspberry Pi as a main brain.
Okay.
And those two talk together, and the
Yeah.
Arduino handles the sensors, and the Pi handles the display. It handles the data export. it's got a little solid state hard drive on board instead of a memory stick. So it's pretty cool. You'll get to see it.
That's cool. Yeah, definitely.
But yes, radiation seems to always do the opposite of what, like, say, magnetic field does. So if the magnetic field dips during a question, you almost every time see the radiation jump up, and vice versa.
There's definitely, I think the field looks way too much at focusing on just EMF.
Yeah.
And we don't focus on other things. I have
because ions also tend to be.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I record ions at the same time.
I feel like I'm in science class right
now.
You are in science class, man.
Here's another one. That's fun. That's cool. But no, maybe I'll talk to you later about this other one because it's dangerous. So I don't want to.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We're trying to entertain, not scare
Yeah, no.
We're like, back in high school.
So
like,
as a kid,
science.
my goal in life was to be a mad scientist, and I feel like that's pretty much what we do.
Made it.
Yeah, no, for real. I think it's really cool because, like, we're the spiritual people, and it's like I need Elliot there because, like, he does bring this like scientific approach, like if it was just up to me, I'd just be like sitting there.
Yeah, that's like when the wife and I go
spirits,
when we go. Yeah. She does the
Yeah.
spiritual side, I do the science side.
Yeah, it's
and
definitely
it just works. Yeah, that's
100%.
awesome. Yeah, I'm in like be curious to find out
randomly
how,
waving to the
how that would go. Where are you going with these guys, Shane?
Oh,
it's a Bell Mansion get together.
We're doing a con.
It's a con, basically.
Hang out with each
Where's
other.
that?
Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne.
So for me, it's like not even 2 hours. So
it'd be what, 3.5 for me?
Yeah. So I'm gonna zip down there next weekend.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
But I'll bring all the goodies so you guys can see.
Yeah.
I'll bring the Ghost CB.
Yeah, I think Elliot, you'll be enthralled with all this information.
You'll see stuff that your mind has never seen.
Yeah.
Because I'm strange.
I'm gonna be bringing my wish fish.
You're gonna have a little stuffed animal fish.
Yeah.
Well, the wife and Nat can talk, and me and Elliot will talk, and they'll have good times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of bringing people together like this, and we've met some awesome people since we've done this show, and this will be 2 years this next next month, I think it is, or April. And it's just, is it 2?
Went well, yeah,
yeah,
at least
2.
I don't, yeah, at least.
But yeah, so yeah, we always bring people together and they hang out, and I've met some really good cool people. I met you guys in Janesville last year in April.
Yeah, I remember like approaching it. It was kind of weird because it was like this psychic magnet that was
wow.
Like,
That'll be me and Elliot, except it won't be psychic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tech magnet.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and that expo was pretty cool, and I wanted to hang out with you guys afterwards, but kind of like when Spirit says it's time to go, it's time to go. You know what I mean? So yeah. Did we lose them?
I don't know. They're stuck.
No, they're there. Okay.
There, are we back?
There you go.
Cut out for a second.
Yeah, right.
But
okay.
I could hear everything that you were saying, Jay.
Yeah.
And it's hard like with the Paracons because it's like you want to hang out with like literally everybody. You know, it's just like, and I honestly, it's kind of like what I used to do in high school. Like I wasn't set to one lunch table. I literally, in order to say hi to everybody, I would go from like one lunch table to the next, spend about 5 minutes.
Butterfly.
Yeah.
Right.
And just like check up on everybody, make sure everybody's doing good. And I feel like that's how it kind of is at these Paracons. I'm just like, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? But yeah, if you really want to sit down and talk, it's like one of those things like come out to dinner, or like, we'll talk for a bit. But it's so hard because it's like, I want to talk to everybody. But
You're right.
I will not stop talking. So a conversation will go on. A 5-minute conversation will be about, a 55 conversation. If like, and it's like, if I could, I would just sit and talk with everybody. I'm very good with like talking with people like very individually. I like that.
That's awesome.
And that human connection. And I just like getting to know people. Because some of the stuff that people told me, like, I love hearing stories. Like, I do.
It's just all about being nice and, like, respect and kindness to
Yeah,
each
it's
other.
honestly, it's not a popularity contest. Everybody thinks
Right.
like everybody's trying to get popular.
yeah.
No, it's just like I know what it's like to be alone,
Mhm.
and I know what it's like to feel left out, and I know
Oof.
what it's like to
Yep.
not be accepted for who you are. So you're coming to these cons. I'm gonna make you not feel alone. I want to make you
Right,
feel accepted for
right.
who you are.
Mhm.
I want you to
Yeah, it's
embrace
awesome.
all that. So
Yeah.
I could care less if people like me or not. I could care less if I'm
Yeah.
popular, but I want you to feel good.
I always
Right.
love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Right.
I always love it when people are like, "This is gonna sound crazy, but I saw a ghost," and it's just like, yeah, we like do this pretty
Yeah.
much 24/7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
I know what it's like
We don't think you're crazy.
to
Right,
be
right.
like going up to people and like I saw a ghost. Oh yeah, you're weird. Like
Yeah.
it's a place where people can come and say like I saw a ghost, and like people like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right,
Like,
right.
Yeah.
And you're
You
going to stand there and listen to them because of the fact that you want to know more information.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You're not, I've
100%.
been to a couple different places where, I want to talk about spirits with one person and then another person. And then I get this whole, yeah, we don't believe that. You're kind of nuts. But I'm okay with that. I don't care. My wife thinks I'm weird. She knows I'm weird.
You're weird.
I'm okay with that.
You are
You know?
weird.
Yeah. But
You're
that
freaky.
being
You
your
hang out with
genuine
me, so
self
you gotta be.
is what's important. Being your true genuine self. But
Yes, and
Yeah.
I feel like you are not going. You're never gonna see like the good things in life. You're never gonna be like comfortable unless you are who you are.
Mhm.
Because you're going to be trying
Well,
to fake your whole life.
You
and
gotta
that's
deal with yourself
everything.
24/7.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
not comfortable with who you
You're the
are.
one that has to look at yourself in the mirror. Like you have to just embrace who you are.
Mhm.
Just love it.
Yeah.
Right. And the one thing that I've noticed too with your guys' posts that you're supportive of everybody, and that is,
Yeah.
that's really
busy,
important.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
We try.
You
Like
know,
even if it's just a share.
right, right.
I've been trying to stay off of like social media. I'm busy. Like
Yeah.
I'm constantly
Right.
editing, reviewing. It's like
I'm in school.
to sit there and scroll. If I see it on top of my newsfeed, I will share it. But if it's not on top of my newsfeed, I'm sorry. Facebook algorithm.
Facebook hides a lot of
sucks.
stuff.
Like,
Right,
it
right.
Understood.
Oh yeah, I'm starting to learn that really a lot in the last 6 months. That Facebook is kind of just been
Strange.
different. Yeah.
tearing people
so-
apart. So we're
Yeah.
putting people back together.
Ruining families. No, just kidding. No. But why don't you guys? We got 7 minutes, 8 minutes left. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you guys got coming up and where they could see you? Like I know you're going to Paracon, so you guys are going to be around. So
You are the memory.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. So we have the Bell Mansion next weekend. It's a Paracon. There's going to be some really cool people there. Bum the Night Society, Kalani, Corbin, Paranormal Quest. My mind's running blank. Sorry for
Us.
the guys. Us. Always
Yeah, you guys will be there.
forget to say our team. But yeah, great people. Like
Come out to the Bell next
come out to
weekend.
the Bell.
I'll be there.
Let's see what else.
Fur squared.
For squad.
No.
Squared?
Squared.
Squared. I'm done.
Getting
Oh
it
my
wrong.
god.
First squared, like a number 2.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Like I thought I said squared
Yes.
last time. Okay. Anyway, FurCon in Milwaukee. We're just gonna call it the FurCon for now. We had a friend that I don't know if you guys know Mama Bear, but she is involved with the ISS, and she asked us to be a part of the ghost panel there. So I think it's their first ghost panel.
That'll be
I've
fun.
never been to a FurCon. I'm not one to judge. Like I think it's gonna be cool.
It
Like,
looked- she showed us like videos of dancing and stuff. It looks fun.
Yeah, like if that's
So-
your thing, that's your thing. Once again, embrace who you are.
Yeah,
Even
right.
in fursuit. So yeah, we are going there, and I'm really excited. I got myself a pair of ears, and yeah. Then there's also in April, Spirits in the Spring, which is at Broadhead Manor.
I probably will go to that. So
That's gonna be
That's
fun.
gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's got some people, familiar faces from Ghost Adventures, and Patty's there.
Larry.
Natalie Jones, Expedition
Larry and
Entity,
Dan.
Larry and
Yep.
Dan, and Jen,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
Steve, and Who else? Oh, I think Nick and Aaron from 28 Days Haunted. I always want to say 28 Days Later. Saying it's a great movie.
Not zombies.
But yeah, so there's just gonna be lots of cons coming up. We're
Then we
doing
have
photographs with Tim.
That's not announced yet, but
that's coming up in the spring. What else?
Indiana State
Con, which is August. We'll get there. Yeah,
but
that's a little bit further away. Jenny
so why don't you go ahead and tell people where they could find you?
So we have a for all of our links is if you go on Linktree, linktr.ee/ACGP. That will take you to all of our socials and all the I constantly update it with videos
Larry,
and everything.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, you should probably promote that too.
That too. Yes. So I did do a documentary. If it wasn't for Larry, it wouldn't exist. And if it wasn't for Larry, I'd probably keep forgetting about it. Like a
Even
documentary.
24/7 is editing that.
Like constant editing. I did do a documentary. We're gonna be working on others. Larry is my guy. It's pretty much me. I'm doing all the video editing. Larry's doing the cinematography, and then we got our ACG crew helping out.
And I'm making tech.
Elliot's making the tech, but it involves music, and we're bringing people that have never really done paranormal investigating and kind of putting on a live concert for them and it has to be a haunted venue. So with stages, our first one was at Broadhead, high school. That's kind of where everybody, gets their little bands going, their first concert. So that was our first one. Then we're going to do some other ones. Also check us out because we are doing some collabs with Expedition Entity. So make sure if you want to see some stuff, we're going to be definitely on their, all their work. You'll see our faces. And then what else is there? There's some other stuff. Go to
we did an investigation last night, so we're a little out of it. So
we understand.
So I just signed up for Linktree myself today.
Linktree is great.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You can just update it really easily. We have a website, but I don't use that as much. I'm in school for web development, so the website's not complete yet.
Right.
But the Linktree is nice because it's just short and sweet. That's what's on our business cards. You just go there. If Facebook ever gets deleted, those business cards
if we didn't have it, I'd probably forget half the things that we've done.
Sure.
That's all right.
It's hard because I try to keep track of everything. It's I'm promoting other people too.
If you want to listen to more podcasts with us on them, they're on Spotify. There's an ACG playlist I made.
Elliot throws all that on there too. So
anything that's on Spotify, I try to throw it on that playlist. So
yeah,
nice.
You want to listen to us talk for hours.
Yeah. So it's pretty close to ending the time. I want to thank my guests. You guys have been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
This is long overdue. You guys were I was grateful to have you guys on. As last parting words to anybody that you want to say, we have a few minutes left, so you want to have shout outs to anybody,
Shout out to Larry.
Larry's
freaking awesome. He does amazing work. We've been working together. We're doing more things with him. So definitely, yes, there he is. Larry.
Yep.
Larry, my man. Shout out to my team, ACG. I love them. We're like a little spooky family. Shout out to Nick Sarlo is putting on the Spirits in the Spring. Shout out to Nick Sarlo.
Shout out to the Bell family.
The Bell
everybody
family,
at Indiana State.
Mama Bear.
There's so many people.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just shout out to all you guys that are freaking awesome.
Right.
My main thing is just be nice, be understanding, and be respectful.
Yeah, respect is a huge...
Shout out to everybody who is nice, respectful, and positive.
Shout out to the people that even though there's negativity out there, will take that negativity and make it a freaking flower and blossom everywhere. Shout out to you guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Very good. Very good.
Because there's a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
You gotta fight it with that positive vibe.
Right. And that's good parting words to live by. Positive breeds positive. So we want to keep that going. So again, I want to thank my co-host Shane Feek for having me on the show, and I want to thank my guests, Nat and Elliot. You guys have been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, and everybody in the chats, thank you for watching. I mean, we had quite a few people on checking this out, so I'm grateful. You guys have all been great. So until next week, see you later.
See you.